all humans succeed the same way. Now, when I talk about succeed, that means become happy, have everything that you want, live a great life, have all the money you want, have the right relationships. That is, whatever success means to you. Every human achieves that in the same way. There's no difference. I wrote an article about this yesterday, and I'll attach it to this video, but you have to think about it. What would make you any different than any other human who had achieved some great success? What would make any other human more important than you who had achieved that success? You can think about it any way you want, but it's always the same answer. It's about how you choose to think of yourself. That's all that it is. And we move through our lives and we develop as that happens through our experiences, through what we've lived, but also because of the world that we happen to live in and the time that we are born, whenever the world is moving through that. Now, I'm talking about this now because we happen to exist at a time of great evolutionary change. We've all seen it. We've all felt it for the last several years. And people wondered why I changed my life and my career direction many years ago. It's because I knew what was coming. I knew what we were going to be experiencing, and I had something that could make a greater difference, not only in my life, but in the lives of others. See, that's the other thing that we come to discover. Whatever we live, whatever we achieve, whatever we move through or accomplish, that is something that we give back to the world. That is something we give back to what collective consciousness, or all that is, every single person. There's no insignificant person born. It's just that we don't understand our significance until we start to find it. And many times that gets talked out of us because of where we grew up, because of who we were born to, where we were born, whatever it was. But still, you still have the same ability. It doesn't matter what age you are, what race, what ethnicity, what gender identity you have, what sexuality. None of those things ever matter in terms of you achieving and experiencing success in your life, or whatever that means to you, abundance, love, whatever it is, because it's within you. It was given to you when you were born. It's within every single person. See, that's what I've come to understand at this point in my life, because I lived through all the other stuff. I can see evolutionary changes that have happened because I've been around for a while. I've lived through many of them, but this one is different. This one is bigger, but because it's bigger, we can make a bigger difference. But that only comes when we decide that we're going to succeed. And the way that we succeed is by becoming our authentic selves, who God wanted us to be, because that's why you were born. You just don't understand that sometimes because of your interpretations of the life that you've lived. That was me. I get that. So I had to move through that. But the other wonderful thing that happened for me, because this is why my work is different, people say, well, Roger, why would your work on mindset or personal development be different than anyone else's? Well, the first thing is, it took me more than 35 years, actually more than 40, but it took me that long to receive the information. Because in 1988, I decided I was going to sit down and start doing meditation and automatic writing and receive cosmic guidance, universal information, meaning that it works for everyone. There's no human that would be exempt from that, because it's just a rule, a universal law that happens in how we choose to live. Because again, I just see it in a different way. I know that God said every single person that comes onto the earth has meaning and purpose, and they just have to figure out what it is. And if they do that, then the world becomes better, because then we remember our oneness. We start to remember that we are all connected. We haven't done that for many decades, eons, centuries. That's what's happening. So this is why we're moving through this change now, and why I started talking about a restructuring. People said, what does that mean? Well, if you read any of my messages on anyadvicefortoday.com, you can go back and find all of those. And you'll see that more than 3 years ago, I started talking about that because that was the information that I received. Then in 2021, I even made a bigger shift because I knew that I had the information because I'd lived it. And so I had to give that back to others. That's what we do. We give back what we've accomplished and what we could achieve to others. See, because I started out being this really scared kid. No confidence. I was lost. I didn't know what a career direction was. I didn't know how you find the right career. I tried all of them, and none of them were working. And then I had some success though, because then when I started doing the automatic writing, wow, everything changed. Because I started having a business that made me a whole lot of money over years, a lot of money. Now how could that have happened? Because I received cosmic guidance, that's all. And everybody has the ability to do that because it's a different level, a different dimension of thinking. But what I also had to do is move through all the old stuff, all the old programming, all the things that I was taught that I couldn't be and I couldn't become. And some of it was taught from my environment, my family, and some of it came from society. Most of it comes from society because that's old stuff. And we're trying to change that, become more. You know, I can think back when I was much younger, there were certain neighborhoods that I couldn't go to because I was a Black person. Couldn't be there for many, many different reasons. Then there were other things that I would see changing over the years that we became more aware. We said, okay, maybe we shouldn't separate these people. Maybe we shouldn't make these people less than the others. That's what happens. But see, that only comes through the individual. And I talk about this all the time because one of the things that happened for me when I was 15 years old, I had the opportunity to see Dr. Martin Luther King speak. And I said, that sparked something in me. He was saying, wait a minute, are we all supposed to be the same? Yeah. And so, but we haven't gotten that yet. But the only way we get there is each individual decides that they're going to become happy. See, we are given something individually that we're meant to bring to the world. And when we connect to that, it's an energy. And that energy causes everything that we want to come to us. Our right relationships, the love of your life, that will come to you. The right career, all the abundance you want to have, all of that comes. And I can talk about it because that's what I experienced as I moved through this. Now, it didn't make me have this this life that was easy. Far from it. I went through every kind of difficulty, challenge, failure, illness than most people. I mean, I did more of it than others, but because I received this information and could heal it all and correct it all and to come out to be the person that I am now, that's like a miracle to me. And I'm going to be 73 in November, and I'm in the best health and vibrant than I've ever been because I was a mess when I was younger. And you wonder, how does that happen? It's consciousness. The only way you experience yourself is through your consciousness. This is why you hear everyone speaking about mindset and all of that. And I said, well, okay, well, that's what I downloaded was mindset work because it was daily. You don't change everything. We have to understand our neuroscience, which we have the science now to really look at that, meaning that we all develop in the same way. It's about consciously taking the thoughts that we're having, examining them and seeing if they're serving us and either getting rid of them or creating new ones. That's how you do it. But it also takes diligence. And that's what I had to find. And I had to be patient with it because I was stubborn. I didn't want to be seen. I talked about that a lot too, because when I first started receiving this information, I didn't tell anyone for 20 years because I said, I'm going to be judged. People are going to think something's wrong with me. Except at the same time, I'm creating this great life. Why? That doesn't even make sense, but that's what a lot of us do. We'll achieve something, experience something, or move through something, and then we become embarrassed or have a lot of shame. Every single person has something that they're meant to offer to the collective consciousness because it's within them. Sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's challenging, but if you got through it and if you're still alive, then you've accomplished something. And now you're worthy. Now you have something that you can give to others. But the first thing is you becoming the happy, abundant person that you can be. And I know that's within every single person. It may take a while to move through the old stuff because it took me a long time to move through the old stuff. So I do get it. But I also know that it is possible. And I did a channeling session a year ago, and you can find that. It's called the Lion's Gate. And in that, my guide, Wilhelm, because that's the information that I received, said, we gave you all this information that could change your world. That was challenging for me to accept. Then I had to think about it because I had people who were doing it and changing their lives and coming out feeling completely different about who they were and really quickly. And then I thought, oh, that's how evolution works. See, whatever you do and move through, then you give it back to others and then they don't have to do that. It's a collective consciousness again. And so I have all of that, so I had to give it back to others. But I also know that everyone's not going to do it. So I'm only working with those people who decide that, wow, I can be happy now. I can really achieve everything that I wanted because that is doable. And I can only say that because I've done it. And it's going to be a little challenging for many people as we're moving through this transition in our world. I've called it, like I said, it's a restructuring. Everything's going to be different. And if you read any of the old messages that I've put out there or listening to some of the channeling sessions from a year and a half or 2 years ago, you'll hear that everything that is occurring now came through and I said all of those things, which is why I shifted. But to understand it is a different thing. To understand what is occurring. We all have these energies within us that have been old, that don't serve us, that have been judgmental, that have been hateful. We picked up all of that. And we've done things in our life that have been terrible. We've made mistakes and we failed. I've done all of them. But then when you get over that and understand what you've gained, now you've become a valuable person. And then you have something to give to everyone else. We all can do that. But we're going to move through some struggle with that because most of us don't want to change. And when you look at yourself and understand that you've been afraid to change, think about everyone else. And this is why a lot of my work now is going into relationships, because a lot of your relationships are going to be strained at this time because we evolve separately. We evolve separately to come back together. That's what happens. But it's every person has this gift within them that they're meant to bring to the world. And the only reason you don't succeed is because you're unwilling to do that. And again, that may sound like, oh, that's harsh. But I can say it because I did it, you see, and I know the difference. I know how I held myself back and how frightening that was to own myself, how frightening it was to tell other people what I believed and what I came to understand about myself, and to develop those skills that were latent, that were within me, but just needed development. Potential is only that. It means it's just there. And we have to decide that we're going to do something with it. And our world is moving through that right now as well. That's why it looks a little insane. But what I've decided to do is that I'm putting all of my time and attention into working with people so that they become their best selves and happy and create something different in our world, because I know that is what will change everything. When you start looking at how you create your life, it's through energy, the thoughts you think, the quality of the thoughts you think, negative, positive. That's all you got. Fear or love. That's all you have. The world has the same thing, but your choices are going to make the difference in your life. And so what I'm doing is guiding people to love, guiding people to understand who they are and to embrace that, because I can see it The other thing that happens, I want to tell you this, because I've done all of this work. I've gotten to this place in my life where when I look at other people, I don't see your weaknesses. I don't see things that are wrong with you. I just see things in development. And I know that because that's what I live. And so sometimes we don't want to go there because it's a little frightening. But once you step over that bridge into who you are, the world looks different. Your life is different. And I can tell you, it is the most glorious place to be. And this is coming from a person who suffered more than you can possibly imagine. And I never want to see anyone else do that, because they don't have to. And that's the other thing you come to understand. When you have something that you can give back to others because you've gone through it, you've achieved something, it is the most glorious feeling that you could ever experience. Not only are you finally at peace with who you are, but you're feeling satisfied because you know you've made a contribution. That will be your legacy. So it could be time for you to succeed, because you will make a great contribution to our world.
I haven't done anything like this.
It's increased the confidence that I had in myself.
Everything is better. I mean, every single aspect of my life. My income, the progress is just amazing. Like, you can see changes from week to week.
Introducing your last development program, Life Transformation for Success, the newest part of Roger Burnley's coaching series. In this 3-month online program, you will learn the mindset tools you need to dissolve the shame of your past, discover the gifts within you that make you important to the world, and get the confidence to rise above anything that stands between you and the life that you want.
Everything changed in my life. Everything. Every single thing.
It's time for you to reprogram your mind for success and become self-actualized. If you're ready to transform your life too, learn more at yourlastdevelopmentprogram.com today.